Yo, it's good. It's Scano from the gutter. This dude has to be the dumbest president of all time. Clearly. Maybe he has dementia. I'm not even going to let him off the hook, you know. But he's clearly not that smart. I mean, just an example. He says windmills, right? Referring to turbines, the wind turbines. He says that we need to shut them down, get rid of them. This green energy is driving up electric prices. He says the wind turbines are causing cancer, and they are responsible for killing off, the native wildlife and fish and whales too, by the way. Uh, Remember the COVID thing, the whole bleach thing, when he was putting out the rhetoric about if you shine a light up your ass, you can cure it. The tariffs, man. He has no fundamental understanding of how tariffs work. I know that was his, but he does not understand actually, literally, how the whole process of tariffs. He blamed Ukraine for being invaded by Russia. He says he invented the term groceries. Remember when he said the 2020 election? That was stolen. It wasn't that he got beaten by 7 million votes. It was stolen. And let's not forget that led to the insurrection in 2021. So now he has taken aim at our museums, like the Smithsonian, for example. He says it's too woke out here. And the exhibits, all the museums all across the country, man, that are educating people, shedding any light on slavery, they need to be dismantled, and eradicated, because he said woke is broke. I mean, what the fuck is you even talking about, man? I told y'all this dude, he think he the grand imperial wizard. So he says not only are, these museums shedding too much light on slavery, but he says slavery wasn't as bad as historians and, us woke individuals will try to portray it to be. He said slaves actually, once they were emancipated, they had, benefited from slavery because they acquired these skills, these skill sets that led them on to, success in them. Never mind that even post-slavery, which lasts, over a quarter of so 300 plus years of brutal systemic, and we're not just talking about, like they punched in, put their aid in, punched and went home to it, kicked it from sun up to sundown, rain, sleet, snow, no matter how cold, no matter how hot. Not only were they broken physically, but also mentally and spiritually. We talking about a system where, not even to mention, like I said, the brutality as far as the violence, but it was common for slave masters, slave owners, for any perceived violation, maybe not making quota, maybe, a would-be insurrection. The punishment, not just death, there are things worse than death, like selling off your kids, taking your kids, putting them on an auction block, selling them off to somewhere across the country. You never see them again. I don't know what could be more brutal than so when this dude says things like slavery, it really wasn't as bad as they make it out to be. See what they want to do, as I said, and he's been going about it in a quiet way. Actually, he's pretty bold about this shit now. They want to whitewash it out, They don't want to be reminded of it, Even though the ideology, it still pervades. But they want to, kind of brush that under the rug. They don't want future generations to know just how diabolical, their forefathers were. But we ain't falling for the woo. Go on, shut the Smithsonian down. We'll figure something out. We're not going to let you just, and it's not about reveling. Who will want to revel in that? You know what I'm, who? Who in the black community wants to revel in the history of slavery? But we must never let them whitewash it out. Some crimes against humanity, they must never be forgotten. So, this guy, man, like I said, economy's in the toilet, As I said, he just got embarrassed on a national stage, And here he is on Twitter, going on these rambling rants. Maybe he does have dementia. But even if he does, that don't change the fact. This dude is a straight up racist. It's obvious, but no, we're not gonna let you do that. So go ahead, like I said, man. As much as y'all try to eradicate it, and I don't know, pretend that it never happened. So like I said, man, he likes to think of himself as a dictator, the grand imperial wizard. But he's more like the Wizard of Oz. Because behind all the posturing of grandeur and brilliance and greatness, there's actually just a little man, a sad, pathetic man, who wants to etch his name into the annals of history and go down as one of the most legendary, figures of American history. But this shit is turning into a clown show, And so congratulations, MAGA members. And like I said, man, I'm not gonna go too hard on y'all, but he's putting it on full display for you. And I'm talking to FBAs, obviously, And I know y'all want, like I said before, sometimes we had to sit down with people we despise for the greater cause, but I'm over this dude. No ops left Scano. You already know.